Hi everyone, well first of all, let me try to move back here because I always get that issue of, there we go. I hope this is better. And well darn it, I'm going to have to, since I don't have my glasses on, and there's some other issues going on, for example, I'm going to want to move closer, so I'm going to want to be able to read better. Hopefully that helps. So if I look like my face is too close or whatever, that's just something you're going to have to forgive. And so I wanted to deal with that video on depression. And, okay, there it is. Oi. Let's just say I've been having a stomach bug for a few days, or actually, well, stomach bug for, oh boy. So apparently they're also showing an ad for a movie that's just like, really, I mean, it's PG, but it looks really, suspect. Anyway, that's another issue, but we'll discuss that later, I guess. And, I mean, it just shows you how our culture is kind of going down, and, I mean, that is part of the reason I get depressed, because I see so much in this culture, and I feel like a lot of times I get mixed signals, and it's just, so it's a lot to deal with. But anyway, I mean, and forgive me, people are going to say, well, you're reading this whole psalm, so what's the point? But I mean, this doesn't describe depression. And by the way, I want to say something too. The black so-called Hebrews, and I've said this before, the black so-called Hebrews try to take Deuteronomy 28 and apply it to themselves. Well, I can tell you that Deuteronomy 28, in many ways, applies to Ashkenazi Jews as well, and other Jews, and tell me if this isn't depression right here. Oh, here we go. And among those nations you shall find no rest, nor shall the sole of your foot have a resting place, but there the Lord will give you a trembling heart, failing eyes, and anguish of soul. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. You shall fear day and night, and have no assurance of life. In the morning you shall say, oh, that it were evening, and in evening you shall say, oh, that it were morning, because of the fear which terrifies your heart, and because of the sight which your eyes see. And I mean, that to me is depression, and I mean, that's just it right there. You know, in the morning you say, oh, I wish it were evening, and in the evening you say, oh, I wish it were morning, because I mean, you feel guilty, you feel like you didn't get enough done, you just feel that so much is going on, and also, you know, definitely talking about the trembling heart, so that can also be like OCD and anxiety, and also the failing eyes, that can be OCD and anxiety and depression as well, because you just don't want to see things, and you just feel like you just want to close your eyes, or your sight's even kind of messed with because you've just been so depressed, and you don't know if you can see straight and all that. And anyway, though, that was just an issue I wanted to address in case anyone was trying to be funny or anything. And so, by the way, forgive, like I said, I have a stomach bug, so if I have to move away for a minute or whatever, just forgive me. And oh, there we go, Job 19, right. And here it goes. I mean, this definitely describes depression. By the way, just FYI, I don't have a wife, so when I read the part about how his breath is, I don't have children either, by the way, but when I read the part about how he talks about how his breath is offensive to his wife and talks about the kids, I mean, that, since I don't have a wife and kids, that obviously doesn't apply to me in terms of having a wife and kids. But yeah, hygiene issues are a big part of depression, because you just don't feel like doing anything, and, you know, just, well, anyway, here it goes. So, and I should have brought a bottle of water too, because this is going to be a long reading. So, anyway. And like I said, forgive me if I have to move away for a while too. I'm also getting a cold, so anyway, how long am I blabbing on this? Okay, so I'm almost going into the 5-minute mark. That is not good of me, so I guess I'll begin reading right now. So, then Job answered and said, how long will you torment my soul and break me in pieces with your words? These 10 times you have reproached me, you are not ashamed that you have wronged me. And indeed, if I have erred, my error remains with me. If indeed you exalt yourselves against me, and plead my disgrace against me, know then that God has wronged me, and has surrounded me with his net. If I cry out concerning wrong, I am not heard. If I cry aloud, there is no justice. He has fenced up my way, so that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness in my paths. He has stripped me of my glory, and taken the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone. My hope he has uprooted like a tree. He has also kindled his wrath against me, and he counts me as one of his enemies. His troops come together, and build up their road against me. They encamp all around my tent. He has removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have failed, and my close friends have forgotten me. Those who dwell in my house and my maidservants count me as a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. I call my servant, but he gives me no answer. I beg him with my mouth. My breath is offensive to my wife, and I am repulsive to the children of my own body. Even young children despise me. I arise, and they speak against me. All my close friends abhor me, and those whom I love have turned against me. My bone clings to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, O you my friends, for the hand of God has struck me. Why do you persecute me as God does, and are you not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were written! Oh, that they were inscribed in a book, that they were engraved on a rock, with an iron pen and lead forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand at last on the earth, and after my skin is destroyed. This I know, that in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another. How my heart yearns within me! If you should say, how shall we persecute him, since the root of the matter is found in me? Be afraid of the sword for yourselves, for wrath brings the punishment of the sword, that you may know there is a judgment. By the way, I want to correct two things. I said, I misread when it said, well, I misread somewhere, but, oh, that's where I misread. I have to reread that one verse. It says, why do you persecute me as God does, and are not satisfied with my flesh? I accidentally read it as, and are you not satisfied with my flesh? And then also, when it talks about maidservants, I don't have maidservants or servants, by the way. And, incidentally, my cat used to think that we were her servants, but anyway, that's another discussion. So, I mean, this just definitely applies to depression, and it definitely applies to just how I've gone through a lot, and how I don't always feel like my relatives and friends have been there for me, even though a lot of them have, and it's just, I mean, if that's one psalm that just really speaks to what I felt, I mean, it's just one, I mean, there it is. I mean, that's depression almost in a tent. Well, quite literally a tent, if you want to talk about the body being a tent. And he talks about, my bone clings to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. I mean, this psalm could apply to so many things. Even, for example, when you think about the Holocaust, you have to know the Holocaust survivors were going through this. My bone clings to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. I can't even imagine, for example, what Holocaust survivors went through. And I even had a cousin that, and I can read you part of his death record, because while he survived the Holocaust, he definitely felt guilty about it. And even though, as I found out, he got a degree and was an engineer and accomplished a lot in life, he still felt the guilt of surviving. And it even says, certifier, physician, referred to coroner, not referred to coroner, autopsy, no autopsy performed, method of disposition, cremation. And it talks about, it says married, education, 5+ years of college, armed forces indicator no. It says industry of decedent, occupation not classifiable. Well, he was an engineer. And then it says occupation of decedent. Oh, industry and occupation. Well, the thing that I was looking for, it talks about his quote-unquote injury at work, unclassifiable. So I'm sure that they were referring to the tattoos that were on, or the tattoo that was on his arm. I've never seen a picture of him, but I have seen the records, and he was one of the Koshitsi Rusnoks. Wait a minute, did I pronounce that right? Okay, Koshitsi. Okay, there we go. Close enough. And anyway, though, I mean, I can imagine that's what that's what he was going through when it says, my bone clings to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. I mean, I also, and people get mad at me for saying this, but I also imagine that that's what great-great-uncle Andy was going through, because it did say in his obituary that he wanted to be cremated and buried with his parents, and I'm sitting there going, okay, why would someone have themselves cremated if he's just going to be buried anyway? I mean, it wouldn't make sense. All they would have to do is put his body in a coffin, and that's it. And even now they have eco coffins, or, I mean, if they were allowed to, they could just wrap his body in a shroud, and there you go, and they could just bury him there, and whatever. But I mean, and I even have it in, and I'm gonna actually post a link to this. You can see that, and I talked about this too, speaking of, while we're talking about the Holocaust and everything else, I posted a blog entry referring to, and I'm going to see if people have been looking at it, just so I can pull it that way from the link. And, okay, oh, here we go. Yep, someone did see it. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the description. And I mean, if you look at the picture, that's great-great-uncle Andy in the picture, and that's his mom. And you could see that she, I mean, it was, whatever it was a joyous event, because people were smiling in the pictures, the other pictures. And this is a picture where she's clearly upset. Her eyes are down. She knows she's getting a picture taken, but she just can't hide that, she's sending her son off to war, and he may never come back. And, and I think, too, that the unsung heroes of the Holocaust have to be the Jewish mothers who sent their sons off to war, knowing that those same sons, well, and daughters too, but mostly sons, knowing that those same sons might never come back. And also in terms of the cremation thing, again, I think that great-great-uncle Andy felt guilty for surviving too, at least at the time when he said, you know what, just cremate me, because as far as I recall, great-great-uncle Carl was buried, and great-great-uncle Joe was buried. And, I mean, people say, well, you have no proof of this and that and whatever. But, I mean, the more we're finding out, the more we do have proof. So it's not like I'm just making up these things. And I think that's another thing that depresses me, too. And going back to the Psalm, it says, it talks about the relatives and friends. It says, he has removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have failed, and my close friends have forgotten me. Those who dwell in my house and my maidservants count me as a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. And I mean, so that's really hard when you're finding out things that you wouldn't make up, and then people are like, oh, I don't believe you, or you're just making stuff up, or, oh, you're just trying to do this and that. And I mean, that's something that really depresses me too. It's like, why would I lie about this? What reason would I have to lie about this when the evidence keeps proving and proving and proving itself? I didn't wake up one day and say, again, I've said this, I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I'm Jewish. I just didn't wake up and say that. This is the same kid who typed in Jews for Jesus as what I honestly thought was a joke. And of course I got the last laugh. And by the way, speaking of Jews for Jesus, I want to address that too. I just thought this was going to be a straight video on depression, but this is an update. I'm not the only one, and a lot of people are not the only ones complaining about. By the way, I'm going to post a link in the what do you call it too, in the video description. I'm going to post a link to a petition I have, because honestly, David Brickner needs to step down. And unfortunately, I'm going to read this comment on SodaHead too, because this person does not know what they're talking about. And I'm going to read, they recently released this statement from one of the Messianic Jewish organizations, and someone said, and I'm going to read this smart alecky comment, the person clearly did not know what they were talking about. They said, okay, the question was, okay, they were talking about I was talking about whether or not the video that's titled "That Jew Died for You," I was talking about whether or not that video was offensive, and some smart aleck, not knowing what they were talking about, decided to say this. And by the way, this is the statement from the, okay, let's see. Alright, that's not the statement that I'm referring to, though. That is one of the statements, and this is very, okay, because one of the statements does mention Moshe Rosen, and mentions what I said, that Moshe Rosen would have never condoned what David Brickner did. And, it just, okay, and, because I'm gonna find that, because, like I said, this smart aleck said that I didn't know what I was talking about. Oh, here we go. Talk about Stuart Darman responding to, he said, okay, he says something specific about Moshe here. Years ago, I decided that when I met a Shoah survivor, I would never state any opinions. I had no right to speak about experiences beyond my comprehension. I remember Moshe Rosen, founder of Jews for Jesus, saying that one should never ask a survivor what he or she did to survive, because they did all things they are not proud of. He recognized that some things are hands-off. Unfortunately, this film ignored that wisdom. Not everything that appears to advance the cause of the gospel is a good idea. This is why Moshe forbid JFJ to evangelize to people under 18 without parental consent. He was wise. He realized that it was inappropriate. That kind of wisdom was missing in the release of this video. So this person was being a smart aleck. She didn't know what she was talking about. And she says, let's see, also I read your petition and you say that Moshe would never made this film. I'm pretty sure this film was Moshe's idea according to the credits posted on their website. Please stop getting all your information from Rosh Pina Project. They are not reliable, and all their posts about Jews for Jesus are heavily biased and untrue. Of course, this person couldn't answer when I said, if this was really Moshe's idea, why wasn't the film made when he was alive? So obviously this person could not answer my allegation. And, oh, by the way, too, this goes to one of the examples of, if you should say, how shall we persecute him, since the root of the matter is found in me, be afraid of the sword for yourselves, for wrath brings the punishment of the sword, that you may know there is a judgment. And believe me, that's part of why I like when I'm vindicated, because for all these years I haven't been believed on stuff, whether it's in terms of our Jewish heritage or whatever else, including the thing about this video. And now it's like, you know what? I'm being believed. I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. However, when I know what I'm talking about, and when I try to know what I'm talking about, hey, sometimes I actually know. And you know what? I wasn't being a smart aleck. So that's that. Anyway, I'm going to post a link to the petition, and I encourage everyone to sign it, because what David Brickner has done is unacceptable, and he has taken Jews for Jesus down to a level that I never thought that it would go down to, and I am, to say the least, I'm disappointed that Jews for Jesus has gone down this way. And I mean, to me it explains a lot of things. I'm not going to get into what I mean by that, but if someone wants to private message me, I'm more than willing to tell them what I mean. Anyway, that's that. So that's I guess an update on the depression issues I've been dealing with, and what I think about for lack of a better term, some of the issues surrounding the Holocaust and just a lot of other issues. Anyway, like I said, that's that. I'm going to post a blog entry link and the petition link in the description, and that's that, and, well, there you go. Oh, by the way, too, just be prepared, because in my next video, I am going to address the Donald Sterling controversy, and I'm also going to address other issues revolving around anti-Semitism as well. And, well, in the case of Donald Sterling, it was racism, but I mean, you could tell that the anti-Semites were so ready to jump on that when it was revealed that he was Jewish. And holy vey, I'm just telling you, it's like, anyway, that's that. And oh shoot, I bored you for almost 21 minutes, my bad. So I'm just gonna sign off here. And by the way, the next month is coming up, by the way, so I wish you a Chodesh Tov, a day from now, I think. And that's that.